recovery from substance abuse. With a strong background in community organizing, policy development, and nonprofit leadership, Tony is dedicated to creating pathways to recovery in a way that empowers individuals and strengthens our communities. His impactful work has earned him a whole slew of different recognitions, and those include the Portland Community College Policy Changer title, and an Inclusion Award, that's also from PCC?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Eric Martin Award for his advocacy with the Latine community, the Skidmore Prize from Willamette Week, recognized as one of the 40 under 40 most influential executives by the Portland Business Journal, was named a hometown hero even by the Portland Trailblazers. So that's quite impressive.
Still haven't met Dane. I was hoping that was my in.
Yeah. So today Tony's going to tell us all about, and his team, they're going to tell us all about how their organization provides recovery support for adolescents and young adults. So please join me in welcoming Tony.
Hey. Thanks so much for having us. I appreciate that quote by Maya Angelou. I like myself. I like what I do, and I like how I do it. And that always hasn't been the case for me. What you didn't see or hear was my other bio from when I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. I was homeless and committing crimes and stuff. And I got sober almost 13 years ago. Ended up going, to jail and treatment, and went to Portland Community College, got involved in student government, did a bunch of stuff, helped start this nonprofit, and then, we hire a lot of people in recovery. Felicia's in recovery, and Elton is too, and, we seek to create that opportunity for people who are addicted, focusing on adolescents and young adults. I'm going to pass it over to Elton. She's going to facilitate the presentation.
We're going to bounce back and forth a little bit. Hi, everyone. My name is Elton, like Elton John, so you remember that. I'm a person in long-term recovery as well. I'll have 7 years this year. And so I am a person with lived experience that offers hope to other people, and that's what we do at 4D. I have lived experience in homelessness like Tony and going to jail, but also lived experience in trying to navigate the resources and working with my family and experiencing that desperation and lack of support. And so I started working at 4D to get involved and give back and address those needs. And so a little bit about 4D. I was not there at 4D at the beginning when it was founded or when it was started, but I do know Tony was. But it was started in a warehouse, and what it really was kind of a sober hangout spot for young people who didn't feel as included maybe or welcomed in other spaces. Maybe those spaces weren't geared towards young people, didn't have the same language that young people speak in. And so they created this youthful culture and atmosphere that ended up being really attractive to others, and it grew. And then some old timers, some other mentors helped them start something and offer peer support services. So when a person has lived experience, helping the people that they serve in that area. We serve youth and young adults ages 14 to 35, and so we're going to talk more about those services. We believe that this is a team effort, and so our mission really is to work with community members, individuals, systems, and institutions to better serve the people that we work with. So this really is all of us joining together like what you guys do. And we envision a future where anyone that needs help can access it and can find and sustain their recovery. Do you want to talk about what we currently offer?
Sure. So yeah, like Elton was saying, we started out basically kind of a spin-off almost of like Alcoholics Anonymous. Most of us were like going to 12-step meetings and stuff. And then some people found us, and we were hanging out in the warehouse, and they helped us sort of commercialize what we were doing, get some grants, stuff like that to get rolling. And so we had these recovery centers where people would mostly go kick it after they went to rehab. You go to rehab, you get sober, whatever, but then you got to figure out the rest of your life being a sober person. And I'm sure everybody here knows either personally or, you can just go out and look on the streets, the impact of untreated addiction and alcoholism. It's everywhere. Pretty liberal place here in Oregon when it comes to drug addiction and stuff. So there's a lot of people who need help. So that's how we started out. Opened up multiple community centers over time. And then in the past couple of years, what we've done is we've expanded to like rehabilitative services, clinical treatment, mental health services, family therapy, withdrawal management. That's where you kind of go to get medically detoxed off of drugs and alcohol. We've opened up a bunch of recovery supportive housing where people who are sober can go live with other support, people who are sober as well. And then, what's not on here, but that we do is, mostly because of my kind of political background. When I was student body president of Portland Community College, I learned a lot about how to shape policy and work in politics and stuff. And so we do a lot of that in the community. We help shape state policy, local policy, increase access to services. I was pretty heavily involved in sort of what I think of as fixing Measure 110. I don't know if you guys know what that was. That was decriminalization and recriminalization. I was helpful in the recriminalization part to kind of make it a balanced system. And so, we understand that people need accountability and support to sort of change. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting ready right now to launch a big campus, which Elton's going to talk about, that's going to be for adolescents and families. According to national and local reports, there's about 32,000 to 50,000 adolescents who have a substance use disorder, and there's about 30 beds across the state for kids that might need to go to rehab. So it's pretty bad. There's an assortment of reasons, many of which are regulatory, that are driving that, sort of bureaucracy that make it hard for people like me to run a business to do it. But we're changing that. The legislature, the governor, people are all supportive of it. Democrats, Republicans, everybody seems to be on the same page that people who have a drug addiction should go to treatment and can get help, which has been really nice. It's the first time in my experience over the last 10 years that there's pretty broad consensus on it, but a lot of the other stuff there isn't. So it is one issue that people agree upon. So we currently have about 150 staff. I think we started off as a volunteer org across the Tri-County area. We just opened up in Vancouver, Washington, and then we're expanding to Salem, Deschutes County and Bend, and then down in Jackson County as well. So we've been expanding a lot. People are supporting us. What I always tell people, because I've got to pitch my nonprofit and get help from the community, I just tell them, if this is something that's close to your heart and you want to help, I'm more than happy to have you. But I always encourage people to go and give their time and energy and spirit, to the things that is meaningful to them, because can't expect the government to fix everything for us. There's a community sort of responsibility to it, and that's one of the reasons I admire the Rotary Club, is I know that you have a service orientation and philosophy in what you're trying to do in the world. And so if you want to get involved with us, go right ahead. If not, I already know you're making change, and I appreciate that and recognize that. I'll pass it over to Elton.
Thanks. I just want to touch on something he said. So it's really difficult to find support if you are an adolescent or a teenager, and I can speak from lived experience with that as well. I struggled with substance use at a very young age. 13 was my first program, and I was surrounded by adults who had been court mandated because of a DUI. So I felt like I wasn't being taken seriously. I felt very alone, and I was not at all wanting to get into recovery because I was around a bunch of people that didn't look like they wanted it either. And so, fast forward to years of trying to find support. My parents always had to send me out of state, spend a lot of money, refinance the home. It was just really difficult to navigate as a family. And then once I was a little bit older, 18, I went to my first AA meeting and still felt a little disconnected. And I actually was a consumer of 4D services. So these recovery centers that we talk about are really designed by young people for young people. So I was taken there because they had some music thing going on and I played guitar. So someone drugged me there and I had never heard of it before. And that's when I got introduced to 4D and I started coming on a weekly basis playing my guitar. And that's where I built my community. And I hadn't done that before because I hadn't seen something like this before. And so really being surrounded by young people who are doing something similar to you and understand what you're going through really makes a difference. And so those parents, I mean, Tony's received a lot of calls from those parents. I've had those parents, those that are desperate, trying to find support, but those calls have really, I feel like, pushed us to make this decision to start this project. And so we launched our very first capital campaign. And this is a rendering of the building that we are purchasing. And this is going to, let me see if the next slide, and this is going to be for teenagers. And so it's going to offer a continuum of services. They can go into withdrawal management and then enter into residential treatment. Once they go through there, they can get involved in outpatient treatment, so they're going on a weekly basis still with that schedule and accountability. Their family is going to be able to access support too, or family of choice, which is really important. Both sides need tools on how to navigate this disease. And then there's going to be that community center piece with mentors on site. And so really it's so that we don't have people falling in the cracks and it's all in one localized spot. You don't have to drive over here and out of state. And it's local in Oregon for our youth and our families. And so this is the building. You know, we've got this launch date goal. We're currently fundraising. These are some renderings of the inside. As you can see, youthful atmosphere. What do young people like to do? This is what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like right now. It has been through a lot, but it has great potential. And so, like I said, we launched this capital campaign and we went through the whole process. This number needs to be edited, my apologies. We've increased a little bit, so I edited that, but you know, we went through our launch phase, we did some donor engagement, we went public, and now we're kind of offering tours and doing more public awareness, but we've raised, I think it was like 73% or something of our goal. We identified a $5.1 million goal for the purchasing and the renovating of this building. And so we've got some of our major contributions up there from legislature in Care Oregon. We got a very generous private donation, but we have still a ways to go. And we've identified kind of what we want to do as our major activities and strategies for this. We're going to be offering private tours to groups or people that want to see it. There's going to be some donor recognition opportunities where you get to, maybe in memory of someone or yourself, be a part of the design. We've done some public marketing, and then our final push for fundraising is going to be our gala. We do a yearly gala, and that'll be kind of our final push. And so we are in this yellow phase right now. But we've gotten really great feedback from the community, and I can't wait to see this happen. It's going to help a lot of people, a lot of families. And if you want to see this space, if you want to learn more, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I also brought you guys some of the flyers that I created, so if you want to pass it down, I didn't know how many to bring, but you're welcome to just keep that.